Hello and welcome to Lily's Library. So today we are going to be talking about some of my most anticipated book releases for 2025. So there are a lot of banging books coming out this year, but these are some of the ones that I am most excited for. So I thought we'd do a video talking through them because some of them come out very, very soon. So there are two books that actually come out on the same day that I cannot wait to get my hands on and really hope I can actually track down copies of. The first one is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. This is the third book in the Legendborn cycle, and I just love this series so much. I really need to reread Legendborn and Bloodmarked before I get to Oathbound because it has been quite a while since I read them. And I don't know if I remember everything that happened. So this might be something that will take me a little while to get to the next book, just because I'm in the process of moving at the moment. You can see some of the empty shelves. But I am so excited for this book. I feel like I've been talking about Legendborn so much lately, and it just is so fantastic and one of my favorite series. And I cannot wait to see where this goes, even though I'm so insanely nervous. But if you haven't heard of the Legendborn books by Tracy Deonn, these are modern Arthurian reimaginings. These are YA. They are super fun. Tracy Deonn is just such an incredible writer. Her books also have a lot to do with grief. Our main character, Bree, is dealing with the loss of her mother and is trying to navigate a new world that she's been plunged into. And it's just so fantastic and so great and so hard, like such a hard read as well. It's very sad and tough to get through in many different ways, but it's honestly one of the best books I've ever read. The next book that comes out on March 4 that I'm really excited for, I actually have a copy and I'm going to be picking it up very soon, and that is Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reid. This is their newest book. This is a YA dystopian that is sapphic as well, and I'm just so excited for this one. So, as I said, this is dystopian. We follow two different women who are going through very different things. One girl, her mother is selling her to be the sacrificial lamb in this assassination event that is live streamed. This is set in a world where one company kind of oversees and rules everything, and the family is very much struggling. So the mother has no other choice but to put her daughter into this in order for them to try and survive and get money from it. And then our other character is someone who's being trained to be one of the assassins. And we're obviously going to see how their lives collide and their paths cross and what they do to try and take down the system. And it just sounds so fun. And I really enjoy Ava Reid's writing. And thank you so much to Penguin for sending me this copy. It is so beautiful. And I cannot wait to get to it. I'm going to be starting it very soon because this comes out so soon as well. Another book I have an early copy of that I'm very excited for is Vanishing World by Sayaka Murata. This is just so pretty. So this is published by Allen and Unwin in Australia. So thank you very much to Allen and Unwin for sending me this. I cannot wait to read it. But this actually comes out on April 15th. And this is Sayaka Murata's newest book. It seems very reminiscent of A Clean Marriage if you have read that short story of hers. But in this, we follow a woman. We start off as her as a girl when she discovers that her family is very different to everyone else's. She was conceived through actual love, whereas everyone else was conceived through artificial insemination. Her family life is very different to what is the norm in this world. Her parents fell in love and had sex and had a baby, which is not common at all. Throughout her life, she is questioning marriage and sex and love and all of these relationships and what is truly the norm and what is the correct thing. And when she is a lot older, her and her husband hear about this town called Eden, where people are selected at random to be artificially inseminated, both men and women. And I guess they end up going there and trying to decide if it's the best spot for them to live and how it can work and whether it's going to push them to the breaking point. It sounds really weird and unusual and very just a perfect Sayaka Murata book, and I absolutely love her writing, so I cannot wait to read this. And thank you again, Allen and Unwin, for this beautiful copy. Overgrowth by Mira Grant is one I'm super excited for as well. This is an alien abduction horror. I think it's an alien abduction. That's all I really know about it, and it comes out in May. That's kind of the only details we have at the moment, but I absolutely loved Mira Grant's other book that I read last year, which was Into the Drowning Deep. This was a sci-fi horror that was an admission to the Mariana Trench and had to do with sirens and mermaids. It was honestly horrifying. And I really need to read more of her horror. And this is a new one that is coming out that just sounds so interesting. And I truly loved her writing, so I cannot wait to see what this is like. One of my most anticipated releases of this year is V.E. Schwab's new book. This is their sapphic, toxic vampire lesbians. And I've been hearing about this project for so long. I absolutely loved First Kill, which is one of her short stories that was with in a vampire anthology that I really enjoyed and had a shitty TV show that I enjoyed as well that got cancelled. So I'm so excited to see Schwab's new take on vampires and what they do differently in this one. But this one is called Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, and it releases on June 10, and I'm just so excited. I don't remember the exact details of what it's about. I honestly like to go into V. Schwab's books pretty blind. I like having a general idea of what I'm to or what the basic premise is, but I kind of like being blind to the actual details of it and just seeing what happens and where it takes me. I find that personally a more enjoyable experience for their books, and I just cannot wait to get my hands on this one. As soon as I find a new place to live, I'm going to be pre-ordering it so I could get a nice copy. Now, there is another sequel that is coming out very soon. It also comes out in June, on June 10 as well, and that is Flight of the Fallen by Hannah Lee. This is the sequel to Road to Ruin, which I read a few months ago and really had a good time with, and I was not expecting to. This is such a fun world. It's a very Mad Max-inspired fantasy. We've also got a beginnings, I guess, of a polyamorous relationship by the looks of it, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. It's such a fun world, and the pacing in book one was incredible and it was so well crafted that I really cannot wait to see what happens in book two, especially given the ending of Road to Ruin. It was just perfect. But unfortunately, I can't really say what Flight of the Fallen is about. If you haven't read Road to Ruin, I just highly recommend it because it was such a fun book. It's also pretty short and it just has some great characters. And as mad as the end made me, I just cannot wait to see what happens in book two and see how everything changes and progresses and what goes on from there. Now, one of my amazing friends who I've met through Book Talk is actually releasing her second book this year, and I am so excited for it. It's called Until Red Leaves Fall. This is by Ali Parker. She wrote At the Foot of the Cherry Tree, which is an Australian historical fiction that I highly recommend. It's kind of like World War II fiction. Her first book is set in Japan and Australia, and her next book also follows a similar sort of premise. So this releases on July 30th. This revolves around the theatre in Melbourne, and we've got a queer plotline as well, and it's got a bisexual main character, and it just sounds super fun. Now, another book coming out in July. These are actually ones that are getting republished. They've already been indie published, but they're getting trad published now, and I've been holding up finder copies for this release, and this is the Saint of Steel series by T. Kingfisher. So this is like Paladin's Grace and stuff. I honestly don't remember what these books are about. I think they're kind of like the bodyguard romance kind of thing, or like knight romance, which I love T. Kingfisher's romance so much. And all of these new covers are absolutely stunning, and I cannot wait to read them, and I'm just so excited for them. July literally cannot come soon enough. I need these books like ASAP. There are 3 books in August that I'm very excited for. One is a sequel, and then 2 others are completely new books. One is another T. Kingfisher, so I might start with that first, and that is Hemlock and Silver. This releases on August 19. So Hemlock and Silver is T. Kingfisher's newest fairy tale retelling reimagining, and this is one of Snow White. It says it's steeped in poison, intrigue, and treason of the most magical kind. In this, our main character works as a poisoner, or she has lots of knowledge around poison, and she is summoned to the palace to treat the king's princess who has been poisoned, and she has to race against the clock to find out what is killing Princess Snow. In this, she stumbles upon a strange alternate universe that's hidden in a mirror and discovers darker secrets about what happened to Snow's dead sister Rose and what led to their mother seemingly going crazy and cutting out her heart. It's also got a bodyguard that assists her and a narcissistic cat, and I just always love the kind of like little families that T. Kingfisher creates in her books and the really unlikely companions that we get to explore and their relationship. So I know this is just going to be absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait for this book to come out because it just sounds so good and so fun, and I just adore T. Kingfisher's writing. We've also got another Ava Reid book coming out in August, and that is August 5th. This is A Theory of Dreaming, which is the sequel to A Study in Drowning, which was one of my favorite books the other year when it came out, and I absolutely loved it. And I am a bit nervous about this sequel just because I don't know if it was necessarily planned, and I feel like sometimes there's issues if they're not planned, but regardless, I'm very excited to dive into this world. I absolutely loved the characters in A Study in Drowning, and I think we're going to be exploring Preston a lot more in this, which I'm very much excited for. Again, this is something I can't really explain too well. If you haven't read A Study in Drowning, I do highly recommend it. But A Study in Drowning is a gothic romance. It's a very fun Ava Reid book. Like, it's quintessential Ava Reid in my opinion. We've got fairy tales and magic. We've got very strong female characters, a very heartwarming romance that I really enjoyed, and some weird stuff going on in the perfect setting. A mansion on a crumbling cliffside that is slowly sinking into the sea, and it is just perfection, and that I really enjoyed it. Probably the book I am actually the most excited for this year, besides like B. Schwab's, and another one I'll get to later is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I don't know if it's Catabasis or Catabasis. They've heard it different ways, and this is just like the Babel Babel debate all over again. But I'm so excited for this. This comes out on August 26th. This is kind of like the different layers of hell, I think. There is actual thing about it, and it's been compared to Dante's Inferno a lot, or it's very reminiscent of that and has a similar topic exploration of all that stuff. I, again, don't know what this is about, and I don't want to know what it's about. I think it's just so fun going into books blind, and this is one that I want to go into blind, and I know I'm going to be confused, but I am going to love it. And I really just absolutely adore everything that R.F. Kuang does, and I know this is probably going to wreck me in ways that The Poppy War and Babel also did, but I'm so excited for it, and I'm so glad we get a new R.F. Kuang this year. I feel like I say this for all of these books, but another book I'm very excited for is Among the Burning Flowers by Samantha Shannon. This comes out on September 11. Among the Burning Flowers is another prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree. In this world, it's been centuries since the dragons and the draconian army rose. They have been sleeping and in slumber for this long period of time, but now they are starting to reawaken. So in this, it says, we see the first sparks of the danger that threatened to consume the world in Priory. This is once again sapphic and has dragons, and I'm so excited to see what this book is like and to read it. But it says this one is a story of human resilience in the face of dire circumstances, and that it will take readers and us through the gripping and tragic circumstances that pave the way for the opening of Priory of the Orange Tree. So I know this is just going to be so good, but so sad as well, especially if we're going in the lead up to everything that happens there. I just cannot wait to see where this goes, even though I am so nervous. C.L. Clarke has quite a few books coming out this year, and Bessa has literally just released, and I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy. But one book I'm really excited for from her is Fate's Bane. So I'm not too sure if Fate's Bane counts as a novel, a full-length novel or a novella, but this is a new sapphic fantasy. In this, we are set in a world where there are clans that have been living at war, but for now they have met a tenuous peace because of our main character, Agnia, who has been taken hostage and is a ward of one of the clans. She has been brought up and grown among them and has been taught their ways throughout her whole life. And she begins to fall in love with the chieftain's daughter, and their love lures them to a hidden spring, and magic awakens in them that could either bring peace to all the clans forever or destroy any hope of peace. And it sounds really good and really interesting and just has such a beautiful cover. But that is all the books I have time for talking about today. There are so many other books that I cannot wait to read. I know Sarah El-Arifi has a Cleopatra book coming out this year that I'll definitely be talking about later. But these are some of the ones that I am the most excited for in the coming months. But let me know if any of these books are on your TBR as well, or if there's any other releases that you're really excited for. But to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all with another video next time. Goodbye.